Good evening. Welcome in, guys. Welcome to the Cantrell Country Travelway Show. No Oasis. And tonight, as it is, we are definitely going to have a vacation. We have a special guest with us tonight. Her name is Crystal. She is with the Royal Caribbean. And tonight, guys, but we are going to let her come on and talk to everybody about the Royal Caribbean and the experiences you Caribbean and how much fun Royal Caribbean can be. Because I don't know, you guys have heard me talk about it in the past. I've fallen in love with including the newest ones of the Utopia and the Icon. Welcome, Crystal, and have a good evening. Welcome, and thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you so much, Dave, for having me. I am so excited. It's my passion, and I love to share things about Royal Caribbean with people. And I love cruising, so I always like to bring people over to the dark side, I guess. So I love to kind of share things about Royal. So thanks so much for having me. So I thought tonight we would kind of go over a little bit of everything with Royal. We'll start with talking about everything Royal Caribbean, kind of where we sail, some of the highlights of our onboard experiences, things like that. And then we will kind of wrap up talking about our brand new ships that we just introduced this year. 2024 was pretty special for us because we launched 2 new ships, one of which just launched in July, and I had the pleasure of being on board. But I'm going to share all that stuff with you in just a little bit. But it's going to be fun to kind of take a deep dive in everything that Royal Caribbean has to offer. So let's get started. All right, so why Royal Caribbean? You know, a lot of people ask me that. They ask me why Royal Caribbean, why cruising, and what makes Royal Caribbean different from other cruise lines if you've already been on a cruise. You know, and my number one answer would be to say that with Royal Caribbean, the ships themselves are the destinations. We just have so many incredible onboard entertainment, activities, experiences, personal service that really creates this onboard experience to where you don't even care where you're sailing to. You just want to be on a Royal Caribbean ship. So lots of different ways that we kind of do that. But let's start with destination, where we go, because we sail all over the world, 125 destinations. I mean, take a look at all those different ports that we go out of. But I would have to say the majority of what we do is Caribbean. It's in our name, Royal Caribbean. We're going to have a ton of ships that go to Caribbean in lots of different itinerary lengths, from 3 all the way to 14-night itineraries. You've got every part of the Caribbean, Eastern, Western. You've got a lot of different areas of the Caribbean, Bermuda, and Bahamas that we do the most of here. But remember, we also do Alaska. We have 4 ships that sail in Alaska. And I'll tell you a couple of highlights about some of those in a little bit. As well as Europe, beautiful Europe destinations. We do beautiful Mediterranean cruises all over Europe. So lots of different destinations. So you don't just have to think about Royal Caribbean as being Caribbean. You've got every destination. And one of the coolest things that we do is we have our own private destinations, our own private islands. Probably our most popular is Perfect Day at Coco Cay. This is probably what you see the most of and hear the most about. And let me tell you, she is so beautiful. It is such an awesome island. I remember the first time I got to go to her. You know, I had been to cruise lines islands before, and it's typically just a strip of beach with some chairs and umbrellas. But this island is so robust, it has so much to do. So I wanted to take this opportunity to take you through some of the features of the island, because any cruise that stops at Perfect Day, this is just an extension of your Royal Caribbean cruise. We're going to feed you on the island. If you have drink packages, they're going to work on the island. it is a beach day that is included. So a Royal Caribbean day off the ship. It's so fun, so cool. So let me tell you a little bit about this island. Now, I know this is a map that doesn't quite show you all of the mileage, and it is just on our screens here. But to give you an idea of how large this island is, we can accommodate when 2 of our ships dock here at a time. So that means with our largest ships being almost 7,000 passengers, this island's capacity is about 14,000 passengers. And we have plenty of areas with chairs, umbrellas, beach space, all kinds of areas for our guests to enjoy, to where you have lots of different adventures. So let's talk about some of those. Oasis Lagoon. This is our pool that's right in the middle of the island. It is one of the largest freshwater lagoon pools in the Bahamas. You've got 800,000 gallons of fresh water right in the middle there, with lots of different areas to sit and hang out with an umbrella and hang out there. I'm getting a little bit of feedback, and I'm wondering if that's coming from me, Dave, or are you hearing any of that? You could just let me know if you're hearing.
I'm not getting no feedback on this end.
Perfect. Making sure that we're hearing everything okay, and you know the people.
I mean, I'm still getting that connection.
As well.
I'm getting that connection glitch, but that's the only thing I'm getting.
Awesome. Okay, well, they can let us know in the chat. So interactive. I love that. So we've got the
pool. This is why I do want this chat. They are interactive.
I mean, I love this. I'll tell you, just since this is kind of, you know, very, we're hanging out here tonight, I could be a little more informal, but this is such a cool way to do it, because when you have questions, we can personally talk about your individual questions. We can talk about some of your personal needs and some of your personal insights that you'd like about cruising. So I love this format. So cool. So with the Oasis Lagoon pool right in the middle of the island, it's 800,000 gallons of fresh water right there, many different areas to hang out. So if you're a pool person, you know, so many of us are people, we love to be on the beach. We like to be at the pool on the beach. We got you covered here. Also, we've got areas for the kids like Splashaway Bay, which has fun play areas for them, and Captain Jill's Gillion, which is a little pirate ship with some fun activities for them. We have tons and tons of beachfront areas, which we have kind of sectioned off to create different vibes for you. Chill Island is probably the beach you hit first when you come in off of the Arrivals Plaza there. A beautiful, pristine view of the ship and the beautiful beach in the background. Always lots of chairs, umbrellas, and shaded areas to hang out. Further from there, you have Harbor Beach. This beach is featured in a little bit of an inlet cove, so you have a great view of a beautiful bridge there and some other scenery along with the beach. And then if you head further down, we'll go to South Beach. That's probably my favorite beach. It's a little bit further of a walk than one of the first beaches, but it's well worth it. It's a little bit further back. Lots of chairs and umbrellas, a cool vibe. If you're into beach sports, we have volleyball set up back here. You can always get a raft and chill out. And I love that big middle of the water swim up bar there. It's a really fun place to hang out. And if you really want seclusion, head a little bit further back to beautiful Cove Beach. This is truly the place for kind of some tranquil and quiet time on Coco Cay. This just lets you know how much beachfront area to really make your perfect day at Coco Cay. And if you want to elevate your experience a bit, maybe you've been on Royal Caribbean a few times, maybe you've been to the private island a few times and you want to try some of the other features to elevate it, we've got some cool things on the island to do that. I'll start with cabana experiences. Maybe you want to go to these individual beaches and have a special cabana just for you and your family, to where you get that pampered service, your bar drinks come to you, and our staff takes care of you all day while you have your prime beach location right waterfront. Those are all available at every beach and every section we have on the island. So if you want a South Beach cabana, if you want a chill beach cabana, you have that option as well. But we also have other areas that if you want little beach club, little sections, you can do that. Or if you want heightened adventures, you can do that as well. We'll start with adventures with our Thrill Water Park. This is a really incredible water park that we have in the middle of the island. Now, there is a small charge for the water park. It varies based on the ship and the sail date, and the charge is simply because the water park can only house a capacity of 2,000 guests per day, and with 14,000 potential guests coming in on the ships, we have to find a way to, for lack of a better word, weed out those who really want to enjoy the water park experience, and that's why we place a small charge on it. But let me tell you, this water park rivals anything you see on land anywhere else. One that's often it's compared to some of the water slides of Cedar Park in Ohio. But we've got 14 different water slides, one of which is the tallest water slide in North America. Half of the water slides you go down with just your body. The other half you use apparatuses like donuts and things like that. We also have other areas in the water park, like a wave pool that's really fun, an adventure pool with obstacle courses, and you can even do cabanas here and through a water park. And some of those cabanas come along with the admission to the water park. So lots of different ways to do that. More thrills include our zip line. You can zip line across the whole island. You could also do our up and away air balloon ride here for incredible 360 views of the island. It's a pretty cool thing to do here. And all of those things have a small cover charge as well. Again, simply because we just don't have the capacity to invite all 14,000 guests to enjoy it. So we just want to see those guests who really want to enjoy these experiences. And then we talked a little bit earlier about beach clubs and kind of elevated experiences. Maybe you've been to Coco Cay a few times and you want to try our luxury beach club, Coco Beach, for an elevated beach club vibe, beautiful infinity pool, elevated food and drinks for you, and a beautiful kind of section of the beach. Or maybe you want to get away from the little kiddos and you want to head to Hideaway Beach. It is our adults only beach featuring a beautiful infinity wraparound pool right in the middle of the beach. Stunning beachfront areas with tons of chairs and umbrellas for lounging, and probably the biggest pool party on the island because they have a DJ that pumps music the whole time here for the biggest pool party you've ever seen. So to have more of a kind of an adults only beach party vibe, we've got this area. So I hope that kind of shows you how the island is so robust. It has so many different experiences. You can go there and just lay on the beach. You can go there and play beach volleyball, eat your way through the island, drink your way through the island, pool your way through the island, or enjoy any elevated experience. It's a little bit for everybody here.
Yeah.
Also have our island Labadee. This one is in Haiti. Just with the unrest in Haiti, we have suspended service with her for a while, but she is starting back her cruises, I believe, this month. And same deal here, beautiful beachfront areas to capacity of our largest ships, which this island has about a 6,000 person capacity. You've got zip lining, you've got beach lounging. We're going to make sure to feed you, and the scenery here on Labadee is a little bit different from Coco Cay. Haiti tends to have a little bit more rainforest and lush scenery, and it tends to add a little bit of a different vibe. So it's a really fun thing to visit. So I'm not sure, have you been to any of our private islands? They're kind of my favorite things about what we offer as well.
You know, like I said, I really. I know I'm looking forward to it when I can take my first cruise with Royal Caribbean. I haven't yet, but that is on something I worked on, and that was something I was working on before my house, like I said, something I was working on when my house decided to have a tree put in the middle of it. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I do know we've got some people in here. I know Richard, who is he's actually, and he has done a lot of cruises, so I know he loves cruising. And Jill, believe it or not, one of my moderators. So anybody that you see in blue are my moderators. They help me control the chat, so we keep anybody that decides to come in and cause trouble, we boot them out real quick.
Oh yeah.
But Jill is actually going to be on the Icon in February.
Yay! Awesome. Well, you get a little sneak preview then. So that's a little bit of a sneak preview of our private islands. I just think that's a cool thing to enhance the cruises. You think about, hey, I'm going on this cruise, but I also get the perfect beach day that's included with my cruise too. So it's a really cool thing to do as well. So let's talk about our ships, because like I said earlier, I really think this is what makes us unique. Our ships are the destinations. People want to go on Royal Caribbean. They don't want to go on, when they say they want to go on Royal Caribbean, it's for Royal Caribbean ships, because we have so many cool things on our ships. So what's included with the Royal Caribbean experience? There's always cornerstones that we're going to make sure to include on every Royal Caribbean ship. And entertainment, nightlife, signature activities, of course, incredible meal and beverage service, kids programming, and of course, private destinations, along with pool and spa and fitness options as well. So these are always all included with your cruise fare. We have other ways to customize, which we'll get into as well. But this is what the blanketed cruise experience is going to be like with Royal Caribbean. Now, earlier, I told you we go to 125 destinations, but how do we do it? We do it over about 28 different ships. And that's got to blow your mind, thinking about, how do I find the Royal Caribbean ship that's right for me? How do I know what's on Royal Caribbean ships? Well, at Royal Caribbean, we like to group our ships into classes. And what that is just means like-minded ships that share the similar features. So as you can see here, we've got 7 classes of ships. The 7th class icon just was released this year, and I'm so excited to talk to you about that a little bit later. But you can see starting at about 95, where we began building when we began our company there with the Vision class there. And we began this mega ship kind of role, and the sizes of the ships that have gone from there. Today, we're just really going to touch on the last 4 classes, because these typically tend to be the most booked. Vision, Voyager, and Radiance class, simply because of the size. We typically use those ships in areas that the ports are kind of smaller. It can't quite accommodate some of our larger mega ships. And with Royal Caribbean, we don't want to tender a ship that's got 6,000 plus people. So we have to pair our smaller ships in ports that could just pull right in. So that's where you'll see Vision, Voyager class, Radiance. Maybe in some of those itineraries like Southampton, England, that's a little bit too small for our big icon class to go to. So that's kind of how we choose where the ships are going to go. And the ships are grouped into classes based on similar features. So let's talk about Freedom class and above, with what the similar features are. Just touch on them quickly. I wanted to touch on the Freedom class quickly. It's about 3,700 passenger vessels here. This is really, these ships typically tend to be out of Florida ports and some Galveston ports, and they heavily do 3, 4, 5 night cruises. Now, this is when we started to do the Freedom class ships. It was the inception of adding things like water slides, or our flow rider activity, our simulated surfing activity, and our rock climbing wall, some of those fun activities on board, and still having that classic incredible dining, nightlife. Freedom class is where we started to add ice skating rinks on board and ice shows on board. So this is really kind of the inception of that larger class of ship, Freedom. So we still have these. They do a lot of 3, 4, 5 night out of Florida. So take a look at those for that. Now, Quantum class ships. These were about 4,000 passenger ships, and they're kind of introduced for us to be more along the more cold weather ships. They're going to be in areas like Alaska or Anthem, Norway area. And these ships are going to be a little bit more sturdy. They're going to have a lot more enclosed observation areas. You've got a really cool activity called the North Star, which takes you up and over the ship for incredible views. Think about how cool that looks against Alaska scenery. You also have a very special area called the Seaplex here. That's so much fun for kids because it features our first ever bumper cars at sea, which are really fun. So these ships built for more cold weather adventures, lots of activities, lots of entertainment, really cool observation decks for more cold weather experiences. You'll see with the Quantum class. Still about 4,000 passenger ships here. Now, Oasis class ships, this is really where I think Royal Caribbean really became Royal Caribbean, at least in my experience, when I started to really become a huge Royal Caribbean fan, is when we started to release these Oasis class ships. Because this is what we think of when we think of the mega ships, the largest cruise ships in the world, the ones that are featured on documentaries and reality shows. This is the Oasis class ships. 6,000 plus passenger ships. We have this year introduced the 6th in that series of ships. And what makes her so unique, she's got all the same features as other ships. So what makes her so unique is, number one, her size. 6,000 plus people on one ship, not to mention crew members, is a lot going on. But Oasis class changed the way we logistically put together our ships so that we could make sure when we have 6,000 people on a ship, it creates logistical flow. And the way we do that is our neighborhood setup. Just like in a city, you may have a town or a city with 7,000 people. You don't see everybody all at once because you have different neighborhoods, different pockets of interest that push people as they choose their different adventures along the way. So that's what the neighborhood setup is about, all these different pockets and areas of interest so that people kind of pop from one area to the other, having these pockets so you don't get all the people in one area at one time. This neighborhood setup has been a game changer for introducing our mega ships, and it really is a way to create this incredible experience across our Oasis class. And because of this, we continue this neighborhood onto our Icon class, which is a brand new class of ship that we introduced this year, January of 2024, with the Icon of the Sea. She's the first in the class. The second in the class is called Star of the Seas, and she'll be coming out next summer. So here, again, neighborhood setup, lots of different activities. This ship is, I struggle to even call it a cruise ship. It's like a vacation. It's like an incredible, robust vacation. And I can't wait to take a deep dive into it for you in just a little bit when we go in depth with this ship. But that's just an overview because I know it could get a little bit overwhelming when you're trying to choose, what cruise you want to go on, what you want to do. It's really easy with a cruise line to say, the first place I want to start when I'm choosing my cruise is where do I want to go? But with Royal Caribbean, I encourage you to think about the experience you want to have on board because that's really how you can choose the ship that's right for you and then go from there. So now, across our ships, we have a variety of different accommodations from interior cabins for those like this kind of small cart with dark, cold boxes. I love those. Sometimes it's perfect for sleeping. We even have some with virtual balconies where you'll get a beautiful digital virtual balcony in that interior. We've got infinite balconies, ocean view balconies, just regular ocean view rooms with portholes. And we have a variety of different ways that you can elevate your stays with suite accommodations. Some of the suites even come along with what we call our Royal Genie, which is butler services. So what a way to really elevate your vacation here. So lots of different ways that you can stay with Royal Caribbean. So just remember that when you're going through and choosing your cabin there. Okay, so let's talk about dining options. Dining is one of my favorite things about any vacation, and we are going to treat you well with dining. We've got a lot of different ways to do dining. We're always going to have grab and go options, buffet options, and we're always going to have seated and served main dining in multiple times throughout the night to accommodate all of our guests. So that's going to be the cornerstone of all of our cuisine, all of our food service. We're going to make sure to have varying types of cuisine, varying varieties of menu items throughout the week of your cruise, throughout the days of your cruise. All of that's going to be there for you. So complimentary restaurants include, like I said, grab and go spots. Maybe you want to grab a hot dog from the Boardwalk Hot Dog House, or a slice of pizza from Sorrento's, or a burrito from El Loco Fresh and get right back to the fun. Or maybe you want your seated and served main dining pampered meal every night where you have that same waiter and assistant waiter and they spoil you for the week. great options that are all included with your cruise. And then alternatively, if you kind of enjoy treating yourself sometimes, like me, some days instead of going for the McDonald's, I take myself to the steakhouse. I take myself to maybe Ruth's Chris or something. Some of those times where I just feel like elevated dining, we've got options for you to do that. It's called our specialty and a la carte dining. And this is just like on land. Sometimes when you want a little bit more of an elevated experience, you're going to go to more of an elevated restaurant. We have those here. They're called our specialty restaurants, and you can do those in either one of two ways. You can pay a cover charge to eat there, just one night of your cruise, or we have packages where you pay one price and you can eat at any of the specialty restaurants available on the cruise for that one price. So you can have reservations each night. One price. So lots of different ways to do it. I love having a little bit of both options. Also, one of the things about this too is that we're very choose your own adventure with Royal Caribbean. You're going to see things are very a la carte. The cornerstone of our cruises is going to be incredible entertainment, activities, accommodations, and of course, we're going to have great dining and service for you. But anytime you want to elevate those things, we're going to give you those a la carte options. And this is kind of a way to do that. So we talked about how you can do packages. This is a way to customize or elevate your cruise here. We've got dining option packages for you, whether you want to do one night at a specialty restaurant, up to 5 nights or unlimited dining package. And remember, we also have beverage packages for you. The beverages that are included with your cruise are always going to be, we have water stations all over the ships for you. Our drip coffee and things like juices in the morning for breakfast are always available. But sodas, specialty coffees, alcohol are at an additional cost. And you can choose to buy those a la carte on the board, or you can choose to do a beverage package. And that's where I mean when I say customizing your vacation. We want to give all of our guests the Royal Caribbean experience, and then we want to let you choose how you want to customize it from there, because a beverage package might be right for you, but it might not be right for your sister that's traveling with you, or a specialty dining package might be right for you, but your aunt's family that's traveling with you are just too picky of eaters. They just really want to eat chicken fingers and fries in the buffet all week, and they don't need that. So this is the way that we're customizing your vacation here. Wanted to give you a couple of options on that and show you how that all works. So also, I know that you also always hear about us being such a family brand, a family kind of cruise, and that truly is what we are. We are a family brand, and I will say that families come in all shapes and sizes, and we can accommodate anything. And that's why I love our activities and entertainment, because it can accommodate the kid or the kid at heart. So lots of different ways to do that. But specifically for kids, I want to touch on a couple of things. A lot of different youth activities that we have, lots of fun games for them. If the activities don't check the boxes, we've got arcade games. We've got fun things like teen clubs for them. We even have child programming where they can go and enjoy with their peers of the same age, fun activities while mom and dad go off and maybe frolic at the pool or enjoy things there. So we've got great child programming as well to give the parents a little bit of a break. Remember, we're a family brand, but where families come in all shapes and sizes. We've got stuff for everyone on board. Okay, so let's touch on our entertainment and nightlife. And I'm just going to do a quick touch on this because as we go into Utopian Icon, you'll see some examples of what some of these shows are. But this is where I really think we do spectacularly, because entertainment is such a huge part of what we do and what we're proud of. We have our own production company that we create our own productions, as well as have Broadway entertainment. And our productions have talent that we audition in the same places as New York, Vegas, Broadway, all of these things. So you're seeing these caliber shows that you would pay a couple $100s a ticket in some of these cities to see. And these are all included in your cruises. Unique type of shows. First, we do have Broadway licensed shows on board on certain ships. I really enjoy Grease on Harmony is one of my favorite things to see, which is really fun. And this is the actual licensed Broadway show. Wizard of Oz on Icon is pretty incredible. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. We also do our original productions from stage shows to aqua shows to ice shows. We are the only cruise line that does shows of all types like that. Could you imagine being on a cruise, sitting in the aft of the ship, and you're watching Olympic and professional divers create this entertaining show for you? It's such an amazing thing to do, all a part of your cruise. Nightlife is really fun, whether you want to dance the night away, whether you want to listen to an acoustic guitar set in the Irish pub, or go to one of our themed parties like the Silent Disco. We've got stuff for everyone. Or maybe my personal favorite is the casino. I spend a lot of time in the casino. I love that. But we've got lots of different ways to do nightlife, whether you're someone who wants to party or you're someone who just likes to chill and sip a martini in a lounge with some jazz music playing. Lots of different stuff to do. So I know I just threw a lot at you, Dave. Tell me what you think so far. Tell me what you think about
yeah, a lot of people are loving this. I mean, honestly, like I said, I've done all the courses for, what you guys require of us as travel agents. And every time I learn something new, and I just finished the next one that came out, I think, which was the Sea of the Stars. It's, the ship coming out next year. And I'm telling you, every ship has gotten better and better and better. And not only better, but a mammoth. I mean, it's just like Jill said it best. There's so many different ships that offer, just slightly variations, because, you're talking about that North Star. It's on certain ships, which, okay, that's a reason to go onto those ships. But then you've got now you've gotten all this aquatic ones, which are coming on the Oasis and the Icon classes. That's a reason right there. And then you've got, my biggest thing is I'm impressed with with the slides that you put on the inside. That it's like a big fat. Jill said it best. It's a floating resorts on it, and all the activities of a theme park inside of the ship, whether you want the nightlife. Now, for me, all I ask that you guys is make sure you got the 24/7 pizza, because I got another one that's in our community that's like me. We like our pizza 24/7. Don't ever take that away, please.
Yeah.
But I think it's good information. And what's going to happen, guys, is we're going to give you guys a chance to ask questions. So please start thinking of your questions. I know she's probably got more information to share with us. So if you guys will hold those questions towards the end. I know I got a couple of myself as a agent, and as somebody that wants to go on a cruise. So I know I'm loading up a couple of here for you towards the end.
Awesome. I'm here for you to pick my brain.
I love the islands. So
awesome.
It's been great so far, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, well, the last little bit, I want to take you inside a couple of the ships, because I know we've talked about, overviews, what you can expect, but I had to kind of talk about it broadly across our 28 ships, but I want to give you some specific examples, and I want to take you through a couple ships specifically. And I thought, what better ones than our two ships that were released this year? So both the Icon of the Seas and the Utopia of the Seas were released this year. Both are sailing now. And I want to take you through the ships and the experiences, because it's really awesome for me to tell you an overview of all these things, to tell you about the nightlife, entertainment, the shows, but let me tell you the specific ones, at least on these ships, okay? So let's start with Icon. Now, remember, we talked about the neighborhood setup. You have to have a way, when you have this many people on a ship, to create flow, to create pockets of experiences, so that you don't have all people in one place at one time. This is how we do it, the neighborhoods. Well, Icon of the Seas takes it a little bit step further, and we've created 8 neighborhoods on Icon. The 8th neighborhood is dedicated to our sweet guest. So remember how I talked about those suite accommodations and the elevated amenities that you get? Well, on Icon, you get your whole neighborhood just for sweet guests, which we'll talk about. But take a look at these neighborhoods. They're different from the ones that you see in Icon, yet they're still neighborhoods and still distinct pockets of adventure at each place. Now, what I love about Icon that's different from the Oasis neighborhoods, Oasis class, we really rolled out the neighborhood setup and really rolled out the concept of creating these pockets of experiences. And we wanted to create these experiences and kind of have them to be, tidbits of things to do in each place. Well, Icon's neighborhoods took them a step further into where we've created these fully well-rounded neighborhoods that you don't have to leave the neighborhood to have a complete experience. And what I mean by complete experience is activities, entertainment, dining, everything. You don't have to leave one of the neighborhoods to receive any of those things. Let me show you how we'll break down the neighborhoods. It's just so cool. This is the largest cruise ship in the world. But again, don't let that scare you, because remember, with the way that we segment out the neighborhoods, you'll never feel like you're on there with that many people. So let's start with Thrill Island. We've always had activities on board our ships. We just talked about the water slides, the simulated surfing, the rock climbing wall, all of those things. But we usually kind of scatter them along the top deck. This is what I mean by Icon, well-rounding and forming the neighborhoods, taking that to the next level. Here on Icon, we have Thrill Island. It's a whole neighborhood. We essentially put all the activities in one area on the back corner of the ship. So you go to the back corner of the ship, you've got 6 water slides, simulated surfing, rock climbing wall, mini golf. Everything for your thrills is right there in that one section. So that day or that multiple days, you go to your amusement park section, your amusement park neighborhood. How cool is that? Best part, you don't have to leave to enjoy any kind of food or drink. We've got Base Camp, which is a grab and go spot there, as well as El Loco Fresh, which is our Mexican cantina eatery, and even Deserted, which is a milkshake bar where you can get regular and boozy milkshakes. Right there in that neighborhood, you don't have to leave to go and eat. Go grab a quick bite, get back to the fun. Well-rounded, fully formed neighborhoods here. Surfside neighborhood, this one is a game changer for our brand in general, because Surfside neighborhood is the first neighborhood that we've really directly dedicated to families. And what I mean by that is it's got everything families could need. It's kind of their live, work, play situation. They can have their cabins there, whether it's facing into a view of the Surfside or ocean view or interiors. They've got their own buffet, grab and go food spot, carousel, arcade, pool. Let me tell you, there's never been a separate pool above the top deck pools until Icon. And now the kids have their own ship, their own pool, which is just safer for them and the parents when they're really watching the kids play around in the pool area, because it's specifically designed for them. Also, their teen spaces and adventure ocean spaces are adjacent from Surfside, so it's quick and easy to get to the kids club there. Whole neighborhood dedicated to families. How cool of a game changer is that for those young families that want to go? Other thing to think about is how cool is it for everybody else who doesn't have kids, because the kids are going to be driven to this neighborhood, leaving the rest of the ship free to kind of get some relief from some of the kids running around. So Chill Island is a wonderful place where you're going to have 4 of our different pools and 6 world pools, to include a swim up pool bar and an adults only pool. You even have the Hideaway, which is a whole neighborhood that's just adults only, that's going to feature a whole sunning area, a pool area, and a beautiful alfresco bar with tons of bar seating at the bar and casitas and couches and chairs, all adults only. And one thing I will say, even though we are a family brand across every single ship and every product that we have, everything that we offer, we have at least one section that has something adults only. Prior to Icon, the adults only sections are called the Solarium on our ships. And with Icon, we introduced kind of a new brand called the Hideaway. That's why we call our adults only area on the beach private beach, or excuse me, our private island hideaway. That's kind of our kind of elevation of our adults only areas. And this pool has, or excuse me, this ship has more pools than we've ever had on any ship. 7 different pools, all with different interests. So that really drives different pockets of people at these different pools. Again, a way that you don't see all 7,000 people all at one place. You know, I know I've been saying that a lot, but that's really one of the biggest feedback pieces I get about Icon, and kind of some of the hesitation of Icon is 7,000 people seems like a lot to be on a ship. But when you've got all these different pockets and areas of interest, just like a town, everybody's not going to be at one place at one time. So you get that flow here. Central Park is one of my favorite neighborhoods. This is a neighborhood that we've repeated from Oasis class, but made her have 33,000 live tropical plants and trees. We have a few of our different restaurants here and bars here, and it's just a really beautiful, pristine area that you would never think you're walking through a garden, essentially, on the middle of the ocean on a cruise ship. It's just such a cool experience. Aquadome neighborhood is on the front of our ship here. We've changed the concept of our aqua shows for Icon. We put them in an aqua dome in the very front of the ship, created this beautiful glass enclosure with a beautiful seating area that I like to kind of call the Icon's living room. And here at the Aquadome, you've got a couple of different bars, an eatery called the Aquadome Market, which is probably one of my favorite eateries across the ship. And we feature our aqua shows here. I mean, take a look. These aqua shows, not only are you seeing the incredible talent that we have, but now there's this continuous shape-shifting waterfall that's coming out of the dome that's incorporated into the shows too. Whereas the previous shows on Oasis class is all open air. So we're even adding intricacy to the shows. It's so cool. You've got your Royal Promenade here as well, where we feature our beautiful pool, a beautiful structure here right in the middle that kind of sets your opening when you come onto Icon. We're going to feature our Absolute Zero, which is our ice rink here, where you can do an open ice skate if you guys want to go in and skate on your own, or you can do our ice show. And the Royal Promenade is just a plethora of bars, lounges, eateries, places to hang out. Lots of different areas here in the Promenade. It's kind of the center heart of Icon.
Wow.
Remember, like I said, neighborhood with some of our newer ships that we built kind of 2022 and beyond. We started to add these specific areas for our suites, elevating the fact that you've decided to kind of elevate your cruise experience with us, and we're adding amenities for those suite guests. So just remember that. Icon has incredible dining. Remember, food is such an important part of any vacation, and we've got lots of different options for you. I talked about the Aquadome Market. I love, love, love this market because I'm a grab and go person and I love bites. And this is very classic food hall style, where you go in and there's 5 different cuisines of food that you can grab little bites. There's a bar. One of the windows is a crepe place where you can get sweet crepes. So I'm sold already on that. One place is a mac and cheese place where you can get mac and cheese with different mix-ins. I mean, all things for me. And then with specialty, we've added some really cool things like a new specialty restaurant, and even a specialty restaurant that caters to kids too, which is really fun. But we always want to make sure that we have those returning favorites that people go on Royal Caribbean and they love. Our classic steakhouse, our Italian kitchen, all those things are going to be included on Icon. And again, you've got options that are complimentary or elevated options with our specialty, because we always want to make sure to give you both options. Bars and nightlife on Icon are abundant. My most favorite new experience that we brought to Icon is a dueling piano bar. That to me was the coolest thing I've ever seen. A dueling piano bar, classic style, where you've got 2 piano players going back to back with recommendations from the crowd. It was one of the most fun experiences I've ever had at any bar on any of the cruises I've been on. It was so fun. And that's kind of a new experience that we have on Icon, but we still all have all of our returning favorites. Like, people really love our comedy clubs. So we have that on Icon. People love our karaoke, so we made sure to put that on Icon. And Bolero is our salsa kind of Latin club, where we do nightly live music where people dance. People love that, and we wanted to make sure to bring that to Icon as well. So you've got a little bit of new things that if you are a loyal to Royal person, you're going to get some new surprises, but we have those favorites that you love already about us.
Right.
And the shows are incredible. I don't want to give anything away because entertainment is one of my favorite things, but I just want to give you a little idea. Like we talked about earlier about generally what the entertainment's like, but I want to tell you specifically on Icon, we're doing the Broadway licensed Wizard of Oz. What I could say is that the scene where Dorothy gets taken away in the tornado, when you are sitting in the theater, you feel as if you're in the tornado too. That's how incredible the production value is. It's really cool. We're also going to be doing a show called Show Band, where we're incorporating live music, singing, and dancing. It's one of our own productions. And we have our own superhero brand called The Effectors, and one of our stage shows for The Effectors will be on Icon, as well as our Aqua show. And this one's called Aqua Action. It's kind of a heart pumping. There will be times where within a minute you'll see 15 divers going from all different levels of jumps, incorporating choreography along with incredible music as well. And then we have our ice shows. The ice shows are my favorite. I would say this is probably the one I was the most excited about seeing when I went on Utopia, especially being in the midst of the Olympics and seeing all the fun. The Aqua show was what I was so excited about seeing, because being in so close to the Olympics and seeing all the diving, it was really cool to see the Aqua show. But quite often when there's the Winter Olympics on, I love the ice skating. It reminds me that I could do that on board as well. And I can see some of our amazing shows like First, which is a really fun take on the elements, or Once Upon a Time, which is kind of a deconstructed fairy tale. So that just gives you a little insight into Icon. I'm going to give you a little insight into Utopia, and then I'm going to let you guys ask your questions, pick my brain. I'm going to hang out with you for a little bit while you ask those questions. So Utopia is an Oasis class ship. So remember, it's that Oasis class, that classic neighborhood setup, kind of our introduction to the mega ships. But what makes Utopia of the Seas unique is that she is doing 3 and 4 night itineraries. And prior to her, we've never had a brand new Oasis class ship doing anything less than 7 nights. And that's so special, because if you're someone who doesn't quite know if they want to do a cruise, they've never been on a cruise before, if you don't quite know if Royal is right for you, but you want to try the best of everything Royal has to offer in a smaller package, this is what it is. 3 and 4 nights on an Oasis class ship. You're going to have so many things to do that you're going to have to come back. And it's going to be the perfect introduction into Royal Caribbean. So Utopia is an Oasis class ship. So it is that 7 neighborhood setup here. But let me tell you some of the highlights of the ship. Our pool deck experience. We know with a 3 and 4 night itinerary that the pool is probably going to be pretty important. We've got a big open pool deck area for you with lots of different areas, sloped areas for sun lounging, and even some in-pool water loungers here. We have activities like our water slides, 3 different incredible heart-pumping water slides there. But we also have our dry slide, which is our Abyss, that takes you down 10 decks on a multimedia dry adventure for you there. But you've also got your other activities. Mini golf, simulated surfing, zip line, rock climbing wall. So you're not losing any of that activities when it comes to this Utopia of the Seas, even though it's only in a 3 or 4 night package here. We've got our lime and coconut, which is our signature bar that's going to be on the pool deck. And we have our signature kids bar, I like to call it, our sprinkles, which is our ice cream cone area there right on the pool deck for them to cool down as well. And we don't want you to have to go to far to get bites to eat. So we've got our spare tire here, which is a food truck style where we've got grab and go sandwiches for you. And then we also have El Loco Fresh, which is our Mexican cantina that's right there out in the pool deck. You can grab a quick burrito or a taco and get right back to the pool. Now, food, of course, is something we do well. So you've got a variety of different ways to do that on Utopia, from the Windjammer Marketplace if you want to do a buffet. You also have your main dining for seated and served, kind of pampered service there. And then grab and go options, you'll have that abundantly as well throughout, like Sorrento's Pizza. But, we've always going to give you those options to elevate. Here on Utopia, we've got a really cool specialty restaurant called Utopia Station, where it's a simulated train car experience dining here. But we also have our sushi concept, where we have double the hibachi tables to help you go there and have that fun hibachi experience, as well as sushi. A 2-story Italian kitchen and wine bar here. And we also have some of our other returning favorites, like the Mason Jar, which is our southern kind of like eatery that features a delicious brunch on sea days that you can get chicken and waffles, red velvet pancakes. That was one of my other favorite menu items. Chops is our steakhouse, and Hooked is our New England seafood concept. You can get that Maine lobster there, crab cakes, oysters, things like that. For bars and nightlife, we know with a 3 and 4 night ship, that's going to attract a lot of parties, maybe friends groups, party groups, things like that. So we want to make sure to have lots of bar, lounge options of all different types. So we've got the Pesky Parrot, our Hawaiian tiki bar here that sits in the promenade. That's a perfect meeting spot. You've got regular and frozen specialty tiki cocktails here. We also have our music hall venue where we do kind of rock style concerts here. We've got Bolero, our classic kind of Latin club. Bell and Barley is our Irish pub. And we also have karaoke on Utopia. That's a very popular activity that our guests love. Playmakers is our sports bar that we have on Utopia. And how cool is it to not have to miss a game when you're on a cruise? I'll tell you, I was on vacation last week on the Wonder of the Seas, and it was the first NFL game, and Playmakers was overflowing. It was so fun. I was watching the first NFL game on a cruise. So fun. So that's one of my favorite venues. Of course, the casino, another one of my favorite venues. This one is big here on Utopia with a separate non-smoking casino for those who are sensitive. And then the parties. Nightly we're going to have fun parties like a silent toga party, a silent disco toga party, frat parties where we do football, beer pong, and then white dance parties, things like that. Fun stuff that we really help to up the party, because that's really kind of the 3 and 4 night ones we know typically tend to be that kind of weekender crowd. We want to give them those options, but you also have cool entertainment. You've got your Aqua Show. This Aqua Show features, of course, incredible talent from choreography to incredible stunts and music. You've got your stage show and your ice show. This is going to feature those 3 shows here, as well as a comedy show. So right there, 4 different shows that you can see, and that does not even scratch the surface of all the different bands that have different bars and lounges. Game shows that you could do, like Crazy Quest game show or Battle of the Sexes. All activities that you can do. You'll never be able to get through this in 3 and 4 nights, so you'll have to come back. But hey, maybe if you've got someone if you just want to try, or maybe you want to convince your sister or your brother to go with you and they've never quite tried it before, but they don't want to commit to 7 nights, the 3 night is perfect for them. And then if you're not a party person, we also have chill things. The Mason Jar has a nightly bluegrass band that plays if you just want to go there and have a Mason Jar cocktail and listen to a bluegrass band. Or maybe you just want to go in a beautiful Central Park and listen to jazz in the park on one evening instead of going to one of the parties. options for everything on Utopia, options for all. And that's why I love it, because our ships in general just have options for all. And we're only continuing. We've got more ships in the pipeline. Next year, we're going to be introducing the second in the Icon series, Star of the Seas. We've got more Oasis class ships coming. And we even have land destination works with Royal Beach Club slated for Nassau and Cozumel. So, we're only growing. And I hope that the journey that I took you on showed how the ships are just building upon building. We're taking feedback from our guests. We're adding things. We're innovating things. And every time we come out with a new ship, it's just going to be an elevation of what you've seen before with Royal. But at the same time, all of our other ships are being revitalized, renovated to be and include that Royal Caribbean experience. So with that, I will take some questions, and you guys can let me know what questions you have and what kind of things you want to chat about.
Okay, well, I'm going to start with the first one because we actually had a question pop up, and this is from one of my moderators, Katie Y. She was asking, as a single person, who would be traveling alone for the first time? Do you have any specific destination recommendations?
Mm-hmm. Honestly, everywhere is accommodating for single. Every port's going to be safe for you. I would definitely recommend a port where you get to visit Perfect Day at Coco Cay, or a cruise where you do, just because the beach day is a perfect thing to do as a solo traveler. But it's also a place where you can meet others that are not only on your ship, but on other ships, maybe on the other ship that's visiting the island for the day. So it's a good mingling kind of area as well. But any itinerary you go with, you really can't go wrong. I'm going to go for Alaska and Caribbean just because those are my two destinations. And I think about myself, and when I travel solo, that sometimes if I want to get out and do activities, that those could be the most fun activities that I personally like to do. So that'd probably be my recommendation. But honestly, no matter where you go, you're going to have a great time, and the ships, the ports, the activities, the experience are set up to where you can have such a great and robust experience solo, or you've got great ways to mingle and meet others as well. So
awesome. Now we got another one from Jill who actually, I got it reversed. I forgot. She's doing a Disney cruise in February. She's actually hitting your Icon in about 4 weeks.
Oh, soon coming up.
I knew it was one. I knew it was both, but I thought it was reversed. But she did put in earlier. She's going on Icon in 4 weeks, and she did ask. Now on the 3 nights and the 4 nights, can you actually combine them? I believe, if I'm correct, as an agent, and help me understand this, as an agent, you would have to book them as separate bookings. I believe, correct?
Yes, you would book back to back. So technically, you could go on 20 back-to-back cruises if you want, as many as you want. In fact, we have we call him Super Mario. He's kind of a legend in Royal Caribbean because he cruises 50 weeks out of the year. Yes, 50 weeks out of the year, because he essentially goes on back-to-backers. They're not always the same ship, but they could be. But there's always options for that. It would be 2 separate bookings. And then we do have a back-to-back process that we could set up to where you won't have to move rooms, should that be on that same ship. So that's a great question.
Yes, that is a good question. Another one, and this is from he's kind of like my partner channel for my Disney stuff, but he does a lot of cruises. He's done different cruise lines. His question is, and the Royal Caribbean cruise tours, and where are they most popular?
So the cruise tours for Royal Caribbean are exclusively in Alaska for us. Our cruise tours will do the interior of Alaska, so kind of that Anchorage to Fairbanks area. We have one ship that does that. And so what you would do is you would do a one-way cruise, and then you would do your one-way cruise tour. So you would either, I believe, start in either Vancouver or Anchorage. And then from Anchorage is where you take your land portion there. So with Alaska, we've got a variety of different cruise tour options. I would say you would at least need at least 10 days to do the whole adventure. My sweet spot is about 12 days because you'll need 7 days for cruising, and I would suggest at least 3 nights for the land experience. But Alaska cruise tours is what we do for those combinations there.
Yeah. And I thought, now, one of the biggest questions, and I always tell people, because all your cruise lines have it, and I tell them, I said, don't forget to check that the more you book with these cruise lines, and it don't matter which one, and I know you've got a pretty good package, can you explain the more times you travel, your royal, what I call the royal perk things that, you get so many points per each cruise?
Yeah. So our loyalty program is called Crown and Anchor. And the first time you sail, you are automatically enrolled into Crown and Anchor. So we do it by cruise nights, sailing nights. So the very first time you cruise, you are a gold member. That is the entry level and means you have sailed anywhere from 3 to whatever nights that you are sailing with us. So everybody's automatically entered when you sail with us. And anytime you need to find out your Crown and Anchor numbers, we can simply look it up with your name and birthday. So we take care of all that. We do offer perks with different loyalty levels and different little things. Could be amenities like drink coupons, priority boarding, all things like that are all options with our Crown and Anchor. And those typically tend to start really kicking in once you get to our Emerald level, which is, I believe it starts at about 45 nights. So that's where those perks come into place as well. We always have some kind of Crown and Anchor desk on board and types of events on board as well. So there's always opportunities to receive perks that way. So that's a great question.
Yes. All right. Does anybody else in the chat have any other questions? And I know one thing, and this is coming more from and this is particularly at this time of year. And I know most of you guys would probably say this, but my question always big is, how much would you guys recommend when you're dealing with a travel agent and the travel insurance? Would you recommend getting the travel, particularly at this time? Like, I know this time of year you got one in the Gulf right now that's about to become a tropical storm. You got 3 other storms we're watching that are coming off the African coast. One which is probably going to get named fairly soon. One that's too tough to tell, and the other one they're not quite sure of yet.
Yeah. I'll say this. So with Royal Caribbean Cruises, if the cruise is, I should say, we don't make you make final payment until 3 months out. So cruises based on the night itineraries can be held with a deposit as little as $100 a person. So I always, for my suggestions with insurance, I always like to kind of weigh your pros and cons. Prior to that final payment mark, you have to at least place a deposit down. So say you have a 5-night cruise, double occupancy, you placed a $200 deposit for your 2 guests that are going. Up until that final payment remark, you've only invested $200 into the cruise, whether that be non-refundable or refundable. It depends on the type of fare that you've purchased. If it's refundable, I would probably say that there's no need for insurance, in my opinion, because you can just move that deposit. If you placed a non-refundable deposit, then yes, you're more at risk because you're going to lose that deposit that you put down should anything happen. So at that point, I would just say weigh whether you think that I'm going to be okay losing that $100 deposit, if I pay the insurance, because insurance, I believe, and I'm so sorry, don't quote me on this exact amount, but I believe it's about $70 per person. So insurance kicks in at the moment of purchase. So when you deposit on a cruise, unless you purchase the insurance at the time of deposit, you don't have insurance on any part of your booking.
Right.
So if you want insurance, you must purchase and pay for it at the time of your booking if you want it to cover that deposit area. A lot of people don't opt to do that. They opt to just wait and pay for the insurance after they've paid the final payment. That way they can kind of, I don't know, I guess you could say, play around with their time frames. You know, if I happen to be canceled before my 3-month final payment, then I'll just take the loss of the $100 per person rather than pay extra $75. If that makes sense the way I'm explaining it. I guess I'm just trying to say is you got to weigh your pros and cons of how you want to do it. If you want it completely protected, absolutely at the time of booking and deposit, pay for your insurance, cover your purchase. Maybe you want to of a gamble and wait till your final payment before you purchase insurance. But at that final payment mark, once you've invested all that money into your vacation, I'm of the opinion that you insure the purchase personally. That's what I would suggest. But I just wanted to tell you the options based on, you know, how much money you've invested in the cruise at each time frame, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Because honestly, when I first started as a travel agent, I'm going to tell you, I was questioning about the insurance because I've only done one cruise. And then I think about that cruise that I did, and we ran into a storm, which brings up some other questions as well. But yeah, I mean, you know, you never know what's going to happen. Someone could get sick. You've got right now we're in the middle of, for Florida, we're all aware of the hurricane. And I know I'm all too well of it right now with what I'm going through. Trust me. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that would be my big thing. But we do got a question from Jill, and this is going back to it's actually kind of in two sections. I'll have to show you both. She's got it's saying that she had an issue with her Crown and Anchor status. I guess her travel agent mistyped a name with only one L, and so the Crown and Anchor number obviously didn't match it, and it's showing me never cruised before. So what she is asking, basically, can she fix if the agent cannot fix it? Can she fix that aboard ship?
Yes, or you can call our Crown and Anchor. We have a Crown and Anchor customer service. I apologize, I don't have the number off the top of my head, but you can just, I believe, Google Royal Caribbean Crown and Anchor, and there should be a desk or an email address. And you can just simply explain that you believe that your name was listed twice and give them your credentials, and they can merge your accounts, essentially.
All right, Debbie had a question, and she was asking, does the boat have a medical team or a doctor? How does that work?
Yes, absolutely. Every single ship has a medical area. It's typically on deck 2. You know, they can't do surgeries, but it's definitely enough to be able to get us to take care of things until we can get to an emergent situation. But every ship does have a medical center with at least, you know, doctors, some multiple plural doctors and nurses, things like that. So things can be taken care of. There are some things that we just can't take care of, and we have to disembark you at the port to do. But those are typically more major medical issues.
Right. Which brings up a good question, because I hear this all the time with a lot of people that want to travel. And a lot of it is that people say that they get seasickness. Well, I mean, how often is it likely, because I know the ships, and I try to tell them, I said, can they get seasick? Yeah. Do you feel that, you know, if you do get high enough waves, I do know it bounce, because that happened to us with the storm. Unfortunately, the storm and the waves were high enough that the ship did rock. When I was walking around the ship, it looked like a ghost town. Half of everybody was down in the cabins.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I was in the Navy, so I'm used to that wave and rocking because they don't have the stabilizers like these cruise ships do. You guys got the stabilizer for the most part, which stabilizes them and makes it balance. What is the best thing you could tell somebody, working in the industry that wants to cruise, but they are afraid of because they may get seasick or they may not know they be seasick?
Yeah. That's a common question. And I, by no means is it going to feel like you're walking on land. You absolutely know you're on a ship just simply by the fact that you're probably passing a window at least every 5 to 10 seconds and you see the water. So that already puts in your head that you're on a ship. So your body makes you feel like you can feel water. So I'm not going to say that you don't feel it, although I'll be honest, I don't feel it anymore. Especially when I'm going on an Oasis class or an Icon. The last time I was on Freedom, I didn't even feel it, and that's a 4,000 passenger. But I'm used to it. My background in travel is I worked on cruise ships for many years, so I'm a little different than someone else. So, I'm not going to come from my vein and say you're not going to feel it, because you're obviously going to feel it. And if you don't feel it, every 5 seconds you're walking by something that's reminding you there's water outside, and so that kind of tricks your brain into knowing that you're moving. So I definitely would say that you're going to feel a little bit of something. However, I feel like where seasickness comes into play is where you're listing. Think about when you're in a rowboat or a kayak or even a motorboat or something, and the seas get a little bit rocky, you get a little queasy when you're doing that kind of listing, rocking, moving. That does not happen. Like you said, the ships have major stabilizers, and the movement you're feeling is simply the same movement that you feel as you're moving in a car. And actually, to me, I feel car movement way more than the ship, because you have so much more around you to kind of isolate that movement. But if you don't get car sick, you're not going to get sick on these ships. I would say for those who get a tiny bit queasy in longer car trips, they have wonderful patches that you can wear and put behind your ear, or put different places that can help you kind of ease that queasiness. But I would just encourage you to liken it more towards a car. In that you're in a car and you're moving simply because you can see the outside. But if you really thought about it, would you really be able to feel that you're moving in the car? So I don't know if my analogies really worked, but I hope that's kind of a little bit of an insight on kind of movement wise. And then I will add as well is clearly when there are storms in port, it's going to be a different game, different ball game altogether. I've been on 5,000 passenger ships that when there's a storm, we are doing this too. Stabilizer or no stabilizer. So Mother Nature, we are no match for Mother Nature as far as movement, but regular cruising, even if the water's a little bit choppier, even hurricane season water, when it's not necessarily a storm, no, you're not going to be feeling big dips of motion.
It would be a lot of it, and this is what I tell everybody, and I agree with you on this. I mean, the experience that I had, and this was the first cruise I ever took, which was back in about 2010 to 2012, somewhere in there. Mm-hmm. It was a major storm off of the coast out of Jacksonville, because the ship, it was actually a smaller ship. It was actually one of Carnival's smaller ones, and you actually could feel it because for the most part the ship stabilized, but you would get the wave where it was such a storm that you did feel the rocking, and you could feel the ship. Like you said, you get that tilt. And I tell everybody this: the best thing is, if you know for a fact that you get seasick, talk to your doctors. They can help you. They can recommend, like you said, there's the patches, there's other things that they can do to help you seasick. But for the most part, the ships are so stabilized, you really don't know that you're moving through the water unless you look out the water and you're just seeing or looking over the back of the deck or the front of the ship, and you see the waves coming from the ship. But
yeah. And another great suggestion for those who are worried about being seasick: choose one of the shorter Caribbean itineraries, or even one of the, the 3 to 5 night Caribbean itineraries, because we cover less ground. So, just typical laws of physics, I guess. I don't know if that's physics. I don't know if I got my right subject, but if we got to make up more mileage, we're going to have to go faster, more knots, and you get a little bit more of the rockiness with that. So when you have to cover less ground, sailing from Miami to Bahamas, Coco Cay takes us no time. So we kind of bob in the water, those kind of things, you're going to have less rockiness as well. So if that helps as well.
All right. Is there any other questions from the chat, guys? If you have any questions, now is the time to put them in the chat so we can ask. Crystal, she's given us a lot of valuable information, a lot of good things, a lot of good tips. I mean, I've had a good time. Some questions. So.
Well, I've had a great time sharing. I just love sharing. I think we have such cool things in our ships, and I think we're unique. I don't think anybody else is doing cruising like we're doing. And I think that's what's so cool about it. And I just love sharing it. So I could probably talk for another 2 hours, but nobody wants to listen to that.
No, I don't know. You're talking about a bunch of people that we all love different. I mean, a lot of us brings us together is the Disney community, but we go beyond that. There's a bunch of us that meet up together and gone beyond that. The one thing that brings us together to a community that we help each other, we share. A lot of us have actually met each other face to face. You wouldn't think that would happen on a YouTube community, but the community that has developed for us is gone beyond. Yeah. And there's a lot of us that are travel agents, a lot of us that love cruising.
Well, I will be back anytime.
Well, Jill was asking this one, and I think I don't know how much you can get into that one, because I do know that those are a lot of times that is a lot of hidden information until you release it a little at a time. She was asking, can you talk about Royal's rollout of the new ships in the future?
I wish I could, but to be honest, they don't even tell us as employees things, especially our sales team, because we have big mouths. So I don't have many details. I do know that they're going to keep the ships that have been announced have already been told what classes they are. So you can expect to see similar icon features, similar Oasis class features. But we always try to add something new to make that ship stand out. So stay tuned on those details. But the one thing I do know is that the next in the Icon series, Star of the Seas, will be sailing out of Port Canaveral. So you'll have an Icon ship out of Miami and an Icon ship out of Port Canaveral, which I think that's just so special. And having Icon kind of dominate those two coasts in Florida, you've got those options. And I love anything that we sail out of Port Canaveral, because I think it's just more opportunity for those who, Orlando is such a destination when you have Disney, Universal, all the other attractions there. Anytime you have a chance to pair those adventures together, hey, how about this time that you go to Disney for a couple of days and then you jump on a cruise after and try that out. The ability to pair really makes it special out of Port Canaveral. So having two Icon class ships doing Miami and Port Canaveral will be so special. We'll have that by next summer. So, I wish I had more to share, but like I said, I have a big mouth, so don't tell me much. But when we get those tidbits, we always pass them along and kind of clue you guys in, because we know you guys are the advocates and the ones that are the brand ambassadors as well, the fans. And you guys are more important to us as anybody, kind of helping us to get out the excitement of Royal. So I'll definitely keep you posted.
Yes, and well, first of all, I would love to have you back again, maybe in a few months, so that if anything new or I get more people down the line to come on in. We love talking about cruising. You'll find out. You brought up one of the biggest subjects that's in this community, and that is the love of food. You mentioned
Yeah.
food. All our ears perk up real quick. I
Yeah.
did have one question from, in fact, his daughter just started working with one of the cruise lines. He was asking you. He said you mentioned that you prior to work on the ships prior to your current position. He was asking you what were some of your duties prior to what you're doing now for Royal Caribbean.
So I have a bit of a twist and turn in the travel industry. I started in the industry about 15 years ago working on board ships, but not with Royal Caribbean. I actually worked for Norwegian. I worked on a ship called the Pride of America that sails the Hawaiian Islands for a little over 4 years. So my onboard experience was with Norwegian. I did a little bit of everything: bartending, serving, purser. You kind of have to be a jack of all trades. And when I decided that I wanted to leave Hawaii, I went to work for a riverboat company, which just recently went out of business. The company's called American Queen Steamboat Company. And at the time, they had a little vessel on the Columbia and the Snake River in the Pacific Northwest. So I went and worked on board there, and then decided that I wanted to be on land. So at the time, American Queen had a sales position open in the Midwest. So I moved to St. Louis and took the sales position, and that was a few years ago. And through different opportunities that have been presented my way, I came. I've been with a couple of different companies, but I came Royal Caribbean's way August of 2021. So I just celebrated my 3-year anniversary with the company. And I'm not sure who makes the decision to go work for a cruise line during a pandemic, but I did. And something that struck me was on my interview, I was interviewing with my current boss, and she is a director here in the United States, along with 4 other directors and 1 other employee. And on the call, between just the 5 of them, the 6 of them, excuse me, they had 130 years of experience on the call. So
Wow.
that really taught me, that really made me think, I really need to give this a try, because this is a company that people go to and they stay at. They retire from, they're loyal to. And the more research I did, I just I'm going to take the plunge, and it's been great ever since. There's definitely, we're a very big company. There's a lot of different moving parts. So, I'll be completely transparent. There's things that fall through the cracks. There's things that we can improve on. But what I love is that we have some of the most loyal and dedicated guests and brand ambassadors, and you guys give us feedback, they give us feedback, and we listen to that feedback. And the labor of love of that is Icon is all suggestions from our loyal guests who, hey, we want more pool space, hey, we want an area just for families, things like that. And we answered by building these ships. So that was a very long explanation to say that I've only been with Royal for about 3 years. I've been in the industry for a while, and I've been a fan of cruising. My mom used to take us on cruises when we were little. So I've been a fan of cruising since it was classic back in the day, where you dressed for dinner and you met the captain and things like that. So it's been in my blood for a really long time, and I'm just happy to be at Royal. So I'm happy to share that with you guys.
All right. Well, you know what? That's awesome, because it's nice to hear a little bit about the person's background. And as long as you've been in here, it's been a lot of great information. Does anybody else have any questions? If you do, I'm going to ask you to hold on 1 second. This is the part where we're going to take a 2-minute, and I should have mentioned this, Crystal. I usually play an ad for my agency. So if you don't mind, we're going to take 2 and 2, as what's the Alex Trebek would say, 2 and 2. We'll be right back. This is the Cantrell Country Travelway. I'm the agent and owner, David Cantrell. If you're looking to travel through the U.S. national parks or maybe to the waterways from beaches to ocean cruises, let the Cantrell Country Travelway help you find your magical vacation. All right. So, and guys, if you are looking to it, again, reach out to me through Jonathan's put all my links in there to reach out to me. I will definitely be glad to help you, especially find a Royal Caribbean cruise now that we've learned more about the Royal Caribbean. And I know you guys have heard me talk about it, but now you guys got more information from the inside, so which it makes it even better. So now it's got me already interested in going for booking the cruise as soon as I can. So does anybody else have any other questions for Crystal? All right. Thank you, Debbie and Jonathan. All right. I don't think we'll run out of questions. So if you'll hold on, Crystal, I'll end this real quick, and then I would like to personally thank you.
Oh,
since we're off screen.
Right. Well, thanks everybody for joining.
Yes, and again, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I do appreciate. Well, I'll say it right now. Crystal, thank you for being here on the show, and hopefully I would love to have you back, or somebody from Royal Caribbean to talk about more as you guys are updating in a few months, because I know
we
you guys
always have updates, and it's now that we did this overview, we can only build from here. We can come on and talk about specific ships. We could go deep dives on areas, on classes. It really is whatever you guys want to talk about. We talk about this stuff all day. We love it. So
and I know for a fact that as an agent, as much as with all the training I've taken through Royal Caribbean, it's one of the best ones. I've studied a lot of good suppliers, but one of them, to me, Royal Caribbean's is one of the best that I've done, and I appreciate their feedback and all that on their training. And I look forward to continue working with Royal Caribbean and try to get some of you guys booked on there, including me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we can't wait to welcome you on.
So,
we love experiencing it through kind of our new guest size, and that's the goal. We want to just, like I said, world domination, at least for me, because I just want to spread the word. It's so fun. I just want to spread that joy with everybody.
So, and everybody is thinking. Oh, Jill did have one more question for you, and it's about the Icon. And she's asking any suggestions on what not to miss on her voyage in 4 weeks on the Icon.
Okay, so if we're talking food, I'm gonna say food. The Aquadome market, like I said, I'm a big bites person. I love bites. I love to try different things, and the Aquadome market is incredible. I really enjoyed, if you are someone who enjoys a cocktail, I really enjoyed, we have espresso martinis there, and actually in the Aquadome neighborhood, there is a bar. It's a coffee bar. So it's specialty coffees and boozy specialty coffees, but they have an espresso martini there that they top with this delicious vanilla cream. That's delicious. Oh my gosh. But then if you want an espresso martini a different way, go to the Irish pub there, and they do an espresso martini with Guinness in theirs. So, I mean, 2 different ways to do the espresso martini. Yum. I would have to say another one of my things is, again, I love grab and go stuff because I'm just a person who my mind goes to 10 different places. So if I want to go to this activity. I want to go to there. So for me to sit down and sit down breakfast and lunch, it's not happening on a cruise because my mind is, I need to go back to the water slide. I need to do this. I need to do that. So grab and go for me was probably my favorite options on Icon because you had so many. You had pizza, everything. that Aquadome market. But one of my favorites was the Pearl Cafe. And the Pearl Cafe is this really large structure that kind of welcomes you when you come into Icon. It's just this beautiful structural, like, piece of art almost, but it's very functional as well. It actually is the first part of the ship that was laid was this pearl, and the ship was built around the pearl. So it's actually used for stability of the ship more than anything. But it's this beautiful structure. So the Pearl there has a cafe on the top level of the Pearl. It's a 24-hour cafe, but again, in that grab and go vein, they just have all these grab and go options. I'm talking about like 5 different sandwiches, whether it's and they change it: breakfast, lunch, dinner, late night. I mean, one night I went there and got this like biscuit sandwich thing with pulled pork in it. And I was like, what? How am I eating this in the middle of the night? Like, something like that. So I'm a person who likes food, a person who likes bites. I like cocktails. I like flavors. And I really enjoyed the flavors on Icon. And then the shows. Just make sure you don't miss any of the shows. You have to do every single one of the shows. And when I say shows, I also mean the dueling piano bar. Sometimes the hours can be a little later. They typically are later. Please do not miss the dueling piano. It's so fun. I lived in Chicago for a little bit, and there was a bar I used to always go outside of Wrigleyville called Howl at the Moon. And I think Howl at the Moon is actually a chain. They have them across the country. And it's such that Howl at the Moon style where the whole bar is singing along with them, and they're just literally yelling suggestions at the two. And these two are so talented. Anything you ask them, they knew. I mean, they were playing from Billy Joel to Beyonce and Lady Gaga on. I mean, it was insane how fun it was. It's probably the most fun I've ever had at a bar lounge on one of the ships. So, okay, that was 10 suggestions, but you get it. Icon is just a lot of different pockets of experiences. And the last thing I'll say for more of a chill experience, there's a jazz club in Central Park on Icon. One of my favorite things to do was just to grab a glass of wine and sit and listen to the jazz set at the end of the night. That would be some of the days I didn't want to quite party. I wanted to unwind. I would do that. So those are my suggestions.
See, I love the passion of this lady. This is why I'm glad they let her do it. I mean, these are that kind of passion right there. You're gonna find out, guys, when you find a good. That's why that's the kind of passion that I put into my travels for my people. When you guys are searching for things, that's the kind of passion I'm going to put into it. And this is the kind of magic that you want to see on those ships and experience. Now, I am going to give, and I will tell you this about the cruises. I know I've only done one, but I've learned one thing about cruises. When you're on a cruise, throw the calories and then everything out the window, because there's no such thing. Everything goes. You pay for it later, but while you're on the ship, you got to enjoy everything. Yeah, it's about the experience. It's everything the experience from, like she says. I mean, I'm not a big gambler, but I do like the casinos. But I do like my shows. I do like my food. You want to experience what you can, and you want to use that valuable time that you do have, especially if you do like you said, especially if you do some of the shorter cruises. You only have so much you can do within those few days.
Yeah.
Especially when you start, when you got 1 or 2 port stops within those days.
Yeah. And one thing to piggyback on you saying try everything, that's really the major leave behind is when you go on these cruises, try everything, do everything, because that's kind of the frustrating part about a land vacation sometimes is like, okay, I'm going to go to Vegas. But sometimes you double think, or you you might think twice about doing an activity just because, well, that's another $100 ticket. That's another $50 ticket. That's another so-and-so. So you might miss out on an experience that you might really want to do, or you have to prioritize the experiences that you really want to do. Because when I go to Vegas, I want to go to every restaurant. I want to go to every experience, but I have to tell myself, Crystal, you can't spend $10,000. So, on 2 days in Vegas. So you got to limit it. But that's what I love about cruising, and especially our mega ships that have all these cool things, is that you don't have to pick and choose which show you want to see because, well, I got to see the ice show or the aqua show because it costs this much money. I only have this much money on this to devote to this trip to see a show. You can do it all. And that's the freedom of these type of vacations, that you just don't get that same freedom on land unless you're a millionaire,
Yeah, bingo. Well, I haven't hit the black gold Texas tea yet. So I mean,
listen, I've been trying to hit that lottery for years and it's not working. So that therefore means budget. And typically most people have a budget for your vacation, and you want a way that you can do everything possible. And you don't have especially your kids saying, Mom, why can't I do that? That's a way to do it.
Exactly. Cruises are the one way where you can get everything. You're going to get
Yep.
If you miss out, I'm going to put it to you this way. If you miss out, it's your personal choice that you missed out, because for what you pay on a cruise, there is so much to do, from nightlife to everything during the day to the shows,
the per day value is unmatched. And, I think that could be sometimes one of the hurdles with someone choosing a cruise is you are paying upfront, but it's all encompassing, and it's just kind of one-stop shop. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I don't like making decisions, and especially on vacation. And to wake up and open a planner or open my app with the daily activities and say, okay, gonna do trivia, gonna go to the pool, gonna do this. Perfect. That's what I like to do. So, I'm a little biased, but it's a safe space to be biased. So,
exactly. Exactly. All right. So, any other questions from the chat? Absolutely. Okay. If there is no other questions, again, hang on. I personally want to thank you again off screen, but again, thank you, as well as I'm going to thank you. It is, Debbie, it's a whole city on a boat, pretty much. And what you make of it, you do. So again, thank you again for being here, Crystal, from the chat. I know, obviously, I'm going to tell you, this is one of the best streams I've had, or interviews that I've actually had. It's really been informational, not only to me, but I've been watching chat, and they sat up and paid attention. So,
I'm honored,
guys.
Like
we can have Crystal back. Hopefully, we can have her back in a few months, or somebody. But it's been awesome. Guys, don't forget to hit the thumbs up, share out, and for you guys that may catch, because I know this will be rewatched on replay. For anybody that catches this on replay, thank you for watching the replay. If you're looking to travel, please check in the links for my agency, and I'll be glad to help you. And with that, again, guys, I'm going to say have a great night, and thank y'all, everybody, for being here. Uh-oh. We already got a request for you to come back after the new ship launches next year.
You got it.
Okay, so I guess we got an appointment for when the Star of the Seas comes out. We got to have you back on. You're welcome, Debbie. It's been awesome. All right, bye, guys. Have a great night.
Thanks, everyone.